property today. The fact is she sold millions of council houses.
Half the council stock.
Half the council stock was sold off. Now most of it is in the hands of let to buy landlords. It's not even owned by people. It's owned by people doing these little buy to let scams. But another thing she introduced, and one thing that actually finished her, she wanted to move taxation away from property and towards people. So one of her great ideas was the poll tax. But the poll tax was the undoing of Margaret Thatcher. I had the pleasure of being in Trafalgar Square on the 30th of March 1990, where we finished 6 months after that massive riot in central London. Thatcher was gone and so was her poll tax. And I think that is a lesson for how we can get rid of people like that. They have transferred wealth from the 99% to the 1%. If you own land in this country, you don't pay any tax on that. Quite the opposite, you actually get money. One of the biggest recipients of public money in this country is the monarchy, and that's because they own so much land. So if you're a big landowner, you get money from the government. We have socialism for the rich here, not for the poor. We've got to end it, and we can end it by occupying all these empty properties and saying we're not having it.
Yeah.
Mark, can I actually one thing? Direct point. I read a book recently, or I read a bit of a book, I didn't read the whole book, about who owns Britain. And the same person wrote a book saying who owns the world. And the monarchy, the UK monarchy, owns a sixth of the land surface of the planet. I was just gobsmacked, but I'm assured that's true.
Say that again.
A sixth of the
A
planet.
sixth of the land surface.
Yeah, legally, she doesn't get the rent. She gets some rent though.
Oh, right, Australia like.
Australia, yeah.
All right, folks. Keep it calm. Keep it facilitator.
Steve, yes.
I got off the tube at East Finchley, and I don't know the area, and I got lost trying to find this place. So I walked up some road called Ballard's Lane, which I'd never even heard of. And it's a blooming long road, and I don't know why I got lost. But I walked past all these houses, and I'm thinking, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, and there's a hell of a lot of houses on Ballard's Lane. So I thought, well, if there's 500 houses there, you got 500 bloody million. And I thought, what a load of bollocks. Because all those houses are just ordinary bloody houses. They don't look like mansions. They're just ordinary houses. They're like the house I grew up in when I was a kid in Manchester. And when my dad, who was lucky enough to get a scholarship to university and become a scientist because he came from a very poor family, we lived in a similar house, and he bought that house on a mortgage actually. And that house actually cost about £5,000. Right? £5,000. And even with the, that was a long time ago, but even with the relative increase in the value of property, that £5,000 that my dad paid for that house, well, it doesn't even begin to compare with £1 million per semi-detached house on Ballard's Lane. So I'm thinking, yeah, look at all this shit, this property. The whole economic system is actually extremely insecurely grounded on the property market, and it's like putting the whole proper economic system on rickety stilts that are just going to collapse at some point soon. Mark Carney, the governor of Bank of England, I saw this geezer on television this morning. Very clever man, so we're told. And he used this really long word that I'd never heard of before. He said, I'm going to use a macro-prudential tool. I've got a macro-prudential tool there. No, actually, what the hell is a macro-prudential tool? What the effing heck is a macro-prudential tool? I tell you what a macro-prudential tool is. It means sweet F-A. All it means is it's going to try and be a clever git to try and stop the whole economy collapsing some point soon. And then he said the housing market is a persistent, he used the word persistent. He said it's a persistent market. persistent. It's a funny word to use. They talk about a persistent offender, don't they? Oh, he's a persistent offender. Wait a minute. Is the economic system a persistent offender? It's quite interesting that he uses that word persistent. And, you know, the thing about a persistent offender is eventually they've got to get sorted out. Because if they don't get sorted out, as Clive mentioned, we're going to be up shit creek with a very broken paddle. And that's where we're heading. So anyway, you know, let's get away from the crap of all these clever gits with their clever words and get real, because a house is where somebody should live. It's a home for people to live. It's not an effing commodity. A house, a home, is a commodity. It's not a commodity. It's where somebody should live, and people should be allowed to live in peace, in liberty, without all sorts of idiots breathing down their neck, trying to make them homeless and trying to destabilise their whole existences.
There was one more point to be made. I don't know.
Yeah. There's one thing, like, Thatcher had this right to buy scheme, and a certain amount of the ordinary people who did buy their houses have now found that they don't get to stay in them because they get compulsory purchased and they demolish the whole estate. And then the amount of money they have is not enough for another house. So that's completely left them with nowhere. Not even left them having the right to live in them till their life's over, you know. That's what I see.
I mean, I'm the so-called housing list, waiting to be housed by Barnet Homes, and I've actually got a letter saying that if I wanted to be housed by Barnet Council, I have to move to Luton or Derbyshire. Yeah. And another new rule they brought in is that if they give you an offer, no matter where it is or what it is, if you say no, then you're taken off the list for 12 months. Yeah, you have no option. You have to take what they're going to give you, and a lot of it is the single parents with children. Their families have been brought up in Barnet all their lives, and they're having to move to Luton. Well, they're trying to get rid of all the people on benefit out of the London Borough of Barnet. That's why the rents are so high. I mean, they're talking about the caps, rental caps. I'm paying £277 a week for one room, with no heating, no light and no hot water. But Barnet Council are willing to pay that for me, rather than give me a social housing or something else. It'd be cheaper to put me in Holiday Inn than it would be to stay where I am. And it's 54 steps up there. Yeah, not much fun in the dark.
So, before we carry on, let me ask you all a question first. How's everybody feeling?
Cool.
All right. So we want to carry on for a while, and I'll get to you. I want to carry on for a while, but first of all, let me know how long you think you want to carry on for, and you can tell me like, yes, I really agree. I'm not so sure. So how about for another 3 hours?
No.
Oh no, he isn't.
Maybe 2 hours.
No.
Maybe 1 hour. 2 weeks. 1 hour. How's everyone feel? As long as it takes. How's people's energy? Maybe another half hour and we'll see how we feel then?
You okay?
Okay, but we have to do something first, obviously, because direct democracy isn't just about, you know, winning a better world and having freedom and liberty and dignity and all that twaddle. It's about people and stuff, and we're all a bit chilly, so the best thing to do for now before we carry on is just hug thy neighbour. I'll demonstrate.
Hug the neighbour.
Choose a person you're particularly worried about. Hang on, have you had a hug? All right.
You know what? I went into I was living in Smith Park, Holloway.
I'm working, I love it, but...
Yeah, you can keep it in your bag. It's for everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, folks.
Wow.
This is a beautiful moment. The forces that separate us have come crashing down.
Nice one.
Okay, so everyone, let's get back into a circle so we share some body heat and all of that. No, let's not just imagine a circle. Let's actually get back into a circle. You crew over there, side crew. Yep. Come on in a little bit. So,